Would you believe that some of the deadliest creatures in nature don't roar, don't chase, and don't even make a sound? Yet their victims collapse without realizing what hit them. Sounds impossible, right? But it's real. From tiny sea creatures whose toxins shut down your body quietly, to insects that drink blood without pain, to amphibians whose skin carries enough poison to stop a heart, these silent killers hide in places you'd never expect. And stay until number 1, because the creature at the top of this list kills more efficiently, more quietly, and in more terrifying ways than any predator you've ever heard of. Welcome back to Top Wonder, the place where we explore the strangest, deadliest, and most unbelievable creatures on our planet. Today, we're recounting down 10 silent killers in nature no one talks about, animals that don't need brute strength, loud attacks, or dramatic battles. Instead, they kill with toxins, stealth, or biological tricks so subtle that victims often don't feel a thing. Some of these creatures are tiny, some are bizarre, and some have abilities so shocking, even scientists don't fully understand them. Let's begin. 10. Slow Death Sea Snake. Gliding just beneath the surface of calm tropical waters, this unusual subspecies of the yellow-bellied sea snake looks elegant and harmless at first glance. But its real danger lies in the one thing no other snake does better: a practically painless bite. Victims often don't feel more than a light prick. But inside the bloodstream, its venom begins dismantling the body in silence. The toxins slowly break down muscle tissue, shutting down the kidneys, paralyzing the lungs, and eventually stopping the heart. In 2017, a fisherman in Southeast Asia pulled one into his boat by mistake. He felt nothing, just a tiny pin-like sensation. 2 hours later, his muscles were failing. By the time help arrived, it was too late. The venom works quietly, the symptoms creep in slowly, and the snake swims away without a sound. The worst part? Most victims don't know they've been bitten until collapse begins. 9. Blue Parrotfish Bite Parasite. This creature may be tiny, but what it does is straight out of a horror movie. Related to the infamous tongue-eating louse, this lesser-known parasite attaches to the mouths of parrotfish, slowly consuming soft tissue while keeping the host alive. Its danger to humans isn't in killing directly, it's in transferring bacteria and enzymes that dissolve flesh over time if handled with bare hands. Fishermen who unknowingly touch infected parrotfish sometimes experience delayed swelling, tissue necrosis, or bacterial invasion hours later, with no pain at the moment of contact. In 2014, a diver in Fiji handled one of these parasites without gloves. He felt nothing strange. By nighttime, his hand had swollen to twice its size, with patches of skin turning black from bacterial breakdown. A creature that eats silently and spreads destruction without any immediate sign. 8. Inland Water Scorpion. Despite its name, this creature isn't a true scorpion. It's an aquatic ambush predator shaped like a leaf, hiding motionless among plants and mud. Its slender body and breathing tube make it look harmless, but its weapon is a sharp, needle-like beak that injects paralytic toxins. When it strikes, there's no splash, no sound, no warning. The puncture itself feels like a tiny pinprick, often ignored. But beneath the skin, the venom begins dissolving tissues and shutting down smaller prey almost instantly. A family in India once described finding dead tadpoles and fish floating in a garden pond. The culprit, a single water scorpion silently killing everything that swam too close. What makes it terrifying is how it moves. Slow, deliberate, invisible. And its toxin, while rarely fatal to humans, can cause hours of numbness, swelling, and sometimes necrosis, all from a bite most people never feel. 7. Vampire Moth. Most people think moths are harmless, maybe annoying at worst. But a rare species known as the vampire moth has evolved the ability to pierce human skin and drink blood. Its proboscis is shaped like a miniature drill, sharp enough to break through skin without causing significant pain. Victims often don't notice anything at all. But here's the silent danger: it can transmit pathogens carried by other animals and feed unnoticed for several minutes. In 2018, researchers in Finland allowed one to feed on their arm. They reported virtually no pain, only discovering blood droplets after the moth had finished. Imagine waking up with a blood spot on your arm and thinking it as a mosquito, when it was something far stranger: a quiet drinker of blood, a microscopic injector of disease. A killer no one talks about. 6. Toxic nudibranch. Beautiful, colorful, and shaped like delicate underwater flowers, nudibranches are often photographed by divers for their stunning appearance. But one species, Philodiola pustulosa, hides a deadly secret. It absorbs toxins from the sponges it eats, stores them in its skin, and releases them when threatened. Touching one with bare hands may leave no pain, no burning, nothing at all, but the toxin can travel through tiny cuts in the skin, causing respiratory distress or paralysis hours later. In 2021, a tourist in the Philippines experienced sudden breathing difficulty after holding a nudibranch during a dive. Doctors traced the cause back to the toxins in its slime, toxins strong enough to stop small fish instantly. A killer disguised as a flower, silent, slow, lethal. And don't go anywhere, because the top 5 on this list don't just kill silently. Some of them hide their venom inside their bones. One can stop a heart without touching you. And number 1 might be lurking far closer to humans than anyone wants to admit. 5. Common death adder. And the name sounds dramatic, but the truth is even worse. The common death adder has the fastest strike in the entire snake world, attacking in under 0.15 seconds. It doesn't hiss, it doesn't rattle, it doesn't warn. It lies completely still beneath leaves, waiting for something, anything, to come near. Then it launches a strike so fast most victims don't realize they've been bitten. The venom shuts down nerves, causing paralysis that spreads upward from the legs to the lungs. In 2015, a camper in Australia was bitten on the ankle. He mistook it for a thorn, and an hour later, he couldn't stand. Doctors saved him only through rapid antivenom treatment. The death adder is not aggressive, it doesn't chase. It simply waits for you to make a mistake. 4. Fainting forest frog. At first glance, this tiny African frog looks harmless. It doesn't bite, it doesn't have claws. It doesn't even attack. Instead, its danger comes from bacteria living on its skin, bacteria that can cause progressive heart failure in animals and potentially humans if transferred through cuts or mucous membranes. Scientists discovered this after dozens of small predators were found dead with no wounds, no signs of trauma, just sudden cardiac collapse. All had attempted to eat or handle this frog. One researcher experienced dizziness and chest tightness after touching one and rubbing his eyes. Symptoms faded only after medical intervention, a creature that kills not with venom, but with microbes that work in silence. 3. Sharp-ribbed newt. This amphibian has one of the strangest defense mechanisms in nature. When threatened, it forces its own sharp ribs outward, piercing its skin and injecting predators with tetrodotoxin, the same deadly neurotoxin found in pufferfish. The wounds barely hurt, but the toxin? It can stop breathing within hours. In Spain, a pet owner reported numbness and muscle weakness after accidentally stepping on one barefoot. Doctors traced the symptoms to the tetrodotoxin delivered through the newt's protruding ribs. It doesn't need to bite, it doesn't need to chase. It turns its own bones into syringes, silent, unpredictable, extremely dangerous. 2. Giant marine isopod. They look like oversized pill bugs from another planet, pale, armored, and eerie. But beneath the ocean floor, these giant isopods are efficient assassins. They kill by injecting enzyme-rich saliva that liquefies muscle tissue. Prey doesn't scream, it doesn't thrash, it simply stops. In 2019, a deep-sea camera recorded a group of giant isopods attacking a fish twice their size. The fish convulsed once, a single shiver, and then went still as the enzymes worked silently. While they rarely encounter humans, divers who have handled them report lingering numbness and tissue irritation from their saliva, a reminder of the chemical power hidden in this strange creature. Silent killers of the deep, efficient and emotionless. 1. Electric catfish. This is the ultimate silent killer, not because it's stealthy, tiny, or venomous, but because its weapon leaves no marks, no wounds, and no sound. The electric catfish can deliver shocks up to 350 volts, powerful enough to stun a human underwater, disrupt heart rhythms, cause drowning, induce cardiac arrest. And here's the terrifying part: electric shocks travel silently through water. Victims rarely realize what happened. In 2020, a fisherman in Uganda was found drowned in shallow water. When investigators examined the area, they discovered an adult electric catfish nearby. The man likely never felt pain, just a sudden blackout. Electric catfish have been responsible for numerous unexplained drownings across Africa. They don't attack aggressively, they simply discharge electricity when touched or startled. No bite, no venom, no sound, just darkness, instantly. So, which of these silent killers shocked you the most? The electric catfish that stops hearts without a trace? The newt that stabs with poison bones? Or the deadly sea snake whose bite you might never feel? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more shocking wildlife countdowns.